Today we have the ever fabulous, never aging Don Lemon with us. Welcome, Don Lemon.
I get it from you.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
I know you are, but what am I? You are never aging and gorgeous as well.
Don, you've been in the media
Yes.
forever.
Yeah.
And so when Donald Trump goes off on Hannibal Lecter and whales and wind tunnels and all that, it's fucking crazy. But
Yeah.
here he is just lying, which we know he lies, which that's not breaking news. But here he is talking about his uncle and the Unabomber.
And I have to brag just for a second, because when I first heard about AI, it's not my thing. Although my uncle was at MIT, one of the great professors, 51 years, whatever. He was the longest serving professor in the history of MIT, 3 degrees in nuclear, chemical, and math. That's a smart man. Kaczynski was one of his students. Do you know who Kaczynski was? There's very little difference between a madman and a genius.
Yeah. Okay. We got that because you're a madman and you're not a genius. But what's interesting about that clip, and the reason I play it is, number one, Kaczynski, the Unabomber, did not go to MIT.
No.
His uncle, I think he taught at MIT, but he wasn't the longest serving professor. He always
He
is
was
talking
not.
about how smart his uncle is. And I'm
Mhm.
like, just because he's smart doesn't mean you're smart. Just because you can grift doesn't mean Don Jr. and Eric can grift.
Yeah.
They're terrible
Yeah.
at grifting.
Yeah.
And why are we not hearing the drum of how incompetent this man is every single day? Like, where's Jake Tapper's book
Where are
about
the books?
that's in office?
Where are the books about Donald Trump's cognitive decline when he makes up these stories? And not to mention, which I will, the bing, 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 boop, 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 bing, bing, bong, 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 when
Or
he
the
does that.
boing, boing,
Bing, bong, bing, bong, bing, bong, boom.
yeah,
So
it's
you're right
bananas.
about facts. Before I get to the facts of this case, let me just tell you, Donald Trump has made up a story of, I think, the Boy Scouts about this non-existent phone call from the head of the organization that he had. They said never happened. He had to email the Babe Ruth Museum to find out the president had made a bunch of false claims about the baseball legend, Babe Ruth. I mean, all kinds of stuff. Remember the Time Magazine Man of the Year, the fake
Yes.
cover? He makes up all kinds of stories. And you are right about his uncle and all of that. Ted, because his uncle did work for MIT, okay? But Ted Kaczynski never went to MIT.
It's
Ted
crazy.
Kaczynski attended Harvard and the University of Michigan. The president's uncle died in 1985, Pumps. Kaczynski was publicly revealed as a Unabomber more than a decade later in 1996. And so perhaps his uncle was, like Michael J. Fox and went back to the future or something. And then I don't know what happened. But I do think that you are right, because it is a double standard. Donald Trump comes up with all of these bullshit lies, stories that he makes up off the cuff, and people go, oh, ha, it's funny. Oh, my God, that's just him. He's a comedian or whatever. Except if it's Joe Biden, they would be saying, oh, my God, it's cognitive decline. We need to do
Right.
the 25th Amendment. He needs to be removed from office. He can no longer handle the job as president. But they don't say that about Donald Trump when he does when he makes up stories just out of whole cloth, makes up things. And then when he does this thing for the weave, when he weaves and tries to deflect people right off of the thing where you're talking about, hey, what's going on with Jeffrey Epstein? And he goes, hey, look, I talked to the people in Mexico, to the people at Coca-Cola, and they're going to start putting real sugar back, and you don't have to get your Cokes in Mexico. And it's like, what does that have to do with anything?
Right.
No tax on tips. That's not what we're talking about. And so he makes things up. He does the weave, and too often he gets away with it. But I think you're right. How many books have been written about this? I can't think of a single one.
That brings me to this popped into my head when you were talking. Okay, so you have him. He has said several times that Hitler gave a speech from the Eiffel Tower and that Russia lost like 50 million troops in World War II. Okay. he said it over and over and over again. Both of those things are false. So I'm like, where are his advisors? Is there nobody around him that corrects him? Like, are his advisors so stupid? I mean, we've seen the letters they've sent out that, a sixth grader could spell check and do better. But what is it, incompetence, or are they scared of him? Why is no one setting him straight on all this?
I think you put your finger on all of it. I think it doesn't have to be just one, right? We can have multiple things that are accurate at once. Pomps. Okay, so here's the thing. Yeah, I think his advisors are not leveling with him. I think they feed him conspiracy theories. I think it is very dangerous to have Stephen Miller around you as an advisor, because it will play on many people's, or I'm sure I believe it plays on Donald Trump's worst racist conspiracy theorist attributes. And so I think it's that. I also think that he's not smart enough to figure it out. He doesn't know nuance. He doesn't understand some things. And also, I think they don't care because they think he can shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and get away with it and not lose any support. And so, as we see, as a convicted felon, he is now in the highest office in the land. So let me just say an example of that is, of all of those things that I am telling you right now, that I am positing here, was the interview with Terry Moran. When he goes, Terry, he goes, well, it's, Terry says, we're not exactly sure. There's been no evidence that shows that Abrego Garcia, that this man was a member of MS-13. And he goes, Terry, he had MS-13 written on his fingers. And Terry says, well, I don't know. That's not right. It doesn't, whatever. And to try to explain to him that they put that on later because they were saying that that's what they believe these symbols meant. And he did not get that. He had MS-13 on his fingers. Terry, this is Terry. And it's like, no, Donald Trump. So either they were dumb enough and didn't know, or they did not inform him, or he did not get the briefing or understood the briefing. He didn't understand the assignment, or he's just doing it on purpose. So all of those things that we said can be true. No, it was not on his fingers. Now, if you'll notice, after that interview, when people started pointing that out, he never said it again, because I don't think that he understood, and perhaps even the people around him understood that. Or maybe they just said, tell him that, let him think it, and move on. Now, if you'll recall, I think it was Tulsi Gabbard. It was Tulsi Gabbard, or it was Kristi Noem. One of them said that they wanted to give Donald Trump his daily briefing.
Yes, Tulsi Gabbard.
In a format that he can absorb and that he understands and that he's used to, and that is cable news style food fight format. And they wanted to present the daily briefing as if it was a cable news show every day, because that answers your question. You get I don't have to keep digging in on this.
He just doesn't give a shit.
He's dumb.
He does not give a shit about policy. He doesn't want to read the daily briefing. And that reminds me of another thing as we're talking. How many times has he said, well, I don't know. I didn't know about that, when it talked about arms to Ukraine, a special counsel, all these questions. He just says, I don't know. And people let him get away with that. How do you not fucking know? You are the president of the United States. The buck stops with you. You have to know everything. So why does he get away with that? No. Can you imagine if Joe Biden would have been asked a question about arms shipments to Ukraine, and he said, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or toxic chemicals being used by Russia on the Ukraine. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, why did they let him get away with that?
Well, I mean, Ukraine, what? I don't know. I don't know anything about Ukraine. Never heard what phone call. I don't know what phone call. I mean, all my phone calls are perfect. They're
Right.
big, beautiful phone. I have no idea. David Duke, I have no idea. Who? David Duke? Who? I've never met the man. Who is Melania? I don't know anybody named Melania. Project 2025. I've never heard of Project.
Never heard of it. Now
Never
we're
heard of
living
it. I have no idea. That is his MO every single time. And he gets away with it because the cult is allowing him to get away with it. And But I did. Again, I don't know. I believe there's one thing that the cult may not allow him to get away with, and that is what's happening with Epstein. But that's a whole nother thing. But he is allowed to do it because he gets away with it, and the MAGA folks believe him. And you know why they believe him? One, they want to believe a cult leader. But two, they sit in front of the television or the radio all day, especially Fox News, and they listen to this BS and they never hear the truth. They're in an echo chamber. So whatever Donald Trump says goes. He's always right. Fox News rarely, if ever, challenges him. And so they believe it. He does it because he can get away with it. And it is every single time that he's been caught in a lie, he says, I don't know. I never heard of it. And then on the channels that are not Fox News or not conservative, they play there's always a videotape or a tweet about it or whatever he posts on his social media site that is contradictory of what he's saying. But you'll never hear that, rarely or never, on Fox News or on conservative radio. That is why he gets away with it, because he knows he can.
Yeah. And did you see the Apprentice movie where they went through the Roy Cohn thing and how he was like, if you repeat a lie enough, it becomes the truth. And if you double down and double down, people will just get tired of it. And that's exactly what he's doing. I mean, that's exactly what he's doing. And these people have found community and like a bond in the hate of the same people. Dehumanizing the same people makes them feel good. And it's really, it doesn't tell a good story about the status of the United States of America. When you have Stephen Miller, I mean, we are rounding people up and sending them to concentration camps. Giddy, I mean, hard dicks all over MAGA at the thought that alligators might eat people. And, we're going to wear merch and stuff. I mean, I'm just like, who the fuck are these people?
I never thought I'd hear dicks and alligators in the same sentence.
But it's
Only
true.
you, Pumps. That's why I love the I've Had It podcast, because you never know what you're going to get together. You strung together a sentence that had dicks and alligators in it, and hard dicks.
Hard dicks and alligators.
And alligators. I thought that I was like, edgy because I was calling all of the podcasters or whatever, and the people who stumped for Trump when I was calling them dick riders. But you outdid me on this one.
I have a 12-year-old boy's sense of humor. That's true. I can't deny it.
I can't disagree with you on any of what you just said about that. It is it's exasperating, but here we are, and we're so lucky to have you to get us to the truth.
Well, thank you.
And with some humor and smarts and beauty, of course.
Oh, well, thank you. Don Lemon, thank you so much. We love having you on. You're such a gift. Mwah.
Thank you. Join the Lemon Nation. Don't forget.
Lemon Nation.